Well, hello there. I haven't actually done a video this year, so I wanted to get on and talk about the Steelers. Now, I was going to talk about the Steelers as far as their really end of the season. This was going to be my eulogy to the 2021 Pittsburgh Steelers. That is kind of what I had planned through prior to Sunday's events, and kind of the missteps and the mistakes made along the way of what kind of happened this year. I didn't expect that we'd be talking Steelers in the playoffs this season. In fact, I wrote this team off several times. I wrote them off after the Lions tie. I wrote them off after the Chiefs game. I wrote them off after kind of a few games, actually. I kind of wrote this team off. The offensive line looked shaky. Ben, looked every bit his age. And I just kind of wrote the team off. I didn't think it was something. I didn't think they would have a snowball's chance in hell of making the playoffs this year. And over the course of Sunday, a minor miracle, I guess you could say, has occurred in regards to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They had an 8% chance of making the playoffs heading into Sunday. 8%. In anything, if a doctor came in and you were lying there and you're like, Doc, what's the percentage? What's the percentage I can live? And they're like, well, after the surgery, it's going to be about 8%. You wouldn't feel super confident about your ability, yet the Steelers going into Sunday had an 8% chance to win. And a lot of that hedged on the lowly Jacksonville Jaguars, who, earned the number one pick with a win. That's how bad the Jaguars were. They still secured the number one pick, and they won on Sunday. They're that bad. Beating the Colts, who should have been in the playoffs. So that was the biggest one of them all. So watching that, watching the Watt sack record, and watching the Steelers-Baltimore game was unreal in real time. Seeing all that stuff going on, almost too much to bear. Never doubt Big Ben. Pittsburgh Steelers 6-time champ coming for 7. Man, I appreciate the moxie. I try to be a realist when it comes to Steelers. I do appreciate that diehard that they're going to come in every year and they're going to win it all. And I want to believe that. But after that Detroit tie took the wind out of the sails for me. And what brought it back, what made me confident that they actually could pull some wins together, was actually that Big Ben home game against Cleveland. Even though Cleveland wasn't, they were kind of a shell of themselves, and Baker Mayfield, was kind of a shell of himself, too many injuries and stuff. But that was a magical night at Heinz Field. He says, remember 2005 Derpy Gaming? Why not us? Now, 2005 season, they were written off, by everybody, really. But keep in mind, in that previous year, they were a 15-1 team. They were in the AFC Championship game, and a Brady Spygate cost us a Super Bowl appearance 1 year before. Steelers are a bit far more removed from the Super Bowl at this point, but at the same time, I like the Steelers the best. The Steelers are the absolute best when they're the underdog, when no one's counting on them to win, and nobody's counting on them to win Sunday night. Nobody. I guarantee you, when your ESPN and your, every sports media analyst is going to come out and they're going to say, who do you pick to win the game? And you're going to see Chiefs, all across the board. They're all going to say it. They're all going to say it. And that's the perfect scenario for the Steelers. Because the Steelers traditionally are their absolute best when they are counted out. And this is the perfect scenario. Steelers sneaking in at 7 on the 7th spot. Perfect scenario for the Steelers. Perfect scenario. Because this is a scenario where I feel the most confident in the Steelers. When the Steelers go in at like the 1 seed or the 2 seed, and they're like, they're the Super, you hear the press clipping, they're the Super Bowl champs, they're going to be the Super Bowl champs. Like that year, a couple years back, where they were, flying high heading in the playoffs, and they got bounced by Jacksonville in the divisional. That was a team that arguably that should have at least went to the Super Bowl, if not won it. And they tanked. They tanked against Jacksonville. So that was one where they came in hot and just a lousy performance. But coming in like in 2005, like in this year, at the low man of the spot, just happy to be there. That's what people want you to think, because they're happy to be there. They play their absolute best when they are a dog. And the Steelers are no doubt a dog heading into this weekend. And that's great. Now, is it maybe the shakiest O-line that the Steelers have put together in some time? Yes. Is it something where they could hold off the Chiefs? Not based on how they played the Chiefs 3 weeks ago, but is there magic in the hat? Is there things that they left out in the hopes that they would still meet the Chiefs? I don't think so. I don't think it's something where they held out plays because they're like, we'll see you guys again. I think the Steelers fought tooth and nail, and it was down to, last second field goals by not just them, but the Raiders last night as well. In the most ridiculous game I may have ever watched was that last night Raiders-Chargers game. There have been 5 ties in the last 5 years. There have been, I think, 14, it said ties since they implemented the tie, or like it's been like 30 years. There is no reason or business that Raiders-Chargers game had to come down to the wire like it did, other than it felt fixed. It felt like the fix was in. It felt like, as a Steeler fan, I'm sitting there just like, oh, Herbert on that last drive might have had 9 million chances to score. It was unreal. Ben wears 7 for a reason. It's a sign from the football gods. Look, Ben 7 seed, 7th ring. It's all coming together. But yeah, that just watching that game was torturous. If you're a Steelers fan, I've never been more tortured watching another team outside of fantasy football. I've never been more tortured watching 2 other teams play, and the Steelers could do nothing about it. Like, it won't affect the outcome, and it came down to the overtime, 2 seconds left. And, the Raiders, look, all credit to the Raiders. The Raiders stood by their motto. What's their motto? What is the Raiders' motto? It's just win, baby. Just win. And they did. And good for them. I think they might have actually played for the tie. I think if Staley didn't call that timeout, they might have played for the tie. But, Raiders, it's on their stadium. It's Al Davis's motto. They had to win. And they won, and good for them. It also, the Raiders would have played the Chiefs had they knelt down. Had they kneeled the clock out, Raiders would have played the Chiefs. Now the Raiders are playing the Bengals. I would have much more, as a Steelers, playing the Bengals than playing the Chiefs. But what are you going to do? So the Steelers have, what's to say about this season? Bus went out as champ. It's Ben's time now. Man, look, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I'm here for it. It would be a Peyton Manning-like effort for him to be carried by this defense that can, when they want to, can make game-breaking plays. Now, we haven't seen it too much in that run defense. I'm scared. I'm admittedly scared by the Steelers' run defense. They get gashed. Latavius Murray looked like he was a feature back yesterday, and he should not look like a feature back. I mean, Latavius Murray's good, but he is a journeyman. He's been through several teams now. He shouldn't be looking like Jonathan Taylor out there, and he was at certain points. So the Steelers have the ability, and this is if they do kind of what they did in 2005, as Derby Gaming mentioned, if they kind of rally around Ben, and Ben kind of does the whole, like, this is my last hurrah, like I'm hanging it up and win this for me and do this kind of like they did with Bettis, I do feel that they could go on a deep run. The question is, do they have the talent to keep up with these teams for that deep run? I feel they do, but with a caveat, they have to play better than they almost have to play perfect. They have to play better than they played every other game this season. And they haven't really put together, I feel, a complete game. Maybe the Cleveland game. Maybe the Ben Cleveland game. And even that was shaky towards the end there. But they haven't really put together a complete game, or a game where, I felt they dominated from pillar to post, really all season. Now, they upset the Bills in week 1, and Bills were coming in hot. And the Bills kind of showed that they were not kind of the hot team that everybody said they were. They had a nice season, 10-7. They won the AFC East barely, but they're not like the 14-2, team that everybody thought they were going to be. So the Steelers have to put together their level best to face the Chiefs or anybody beyond the Chiefs should it get to that point. They have to put together, Ben has to put together his magic. And Ben has shown this season varying degrees of that magic. Now, I will contend that Ben in the Chargers and the Vikings game were two of them where he looked about as sharp as he could possibly look. In fact, now that one throw, it's the one I think about. It's the one that yesterday's drama, it wouldn't have come down to yesterday's drama. That throw he put on Freiermuth between 3 defenders in the end of the Minnesota game, maybe one of the better throws that Ben has ever put. He put it on the button. Now, that's not Freiermuth's fault. That is a very difficult catch, and Harrison Smith smacked him as soon as he got the ball, so it was almost an impossible catch. But if you watch that replay again, he put that on the button. I mean, he put it right where those hands had to be right there. Never doubt Ben, rememberable Super Bowl 43, regardless if he's old. Now, yes, I do remember Super Bowl 43. The one thing about that is that Super Bowl 43, Ben was a young man, and he is an old man now. He is, roughly that Peyton Manning age when Manning was a Super Bowl 50, where the defense kind of carried Manning. And Manning was serviceable. And Ben is no doubt serviceable. And Ben, no doubt, similar to Sunday, similar to previous games this season, there are times when Ben throws a ball and you're like, ooh, as soon as he throws it, oh, man, that's bad. But then there's times he throws it and it's on the money. You almost don't know what you're going to get out of him sometimes. And it's scary to see him do that. Because every time, and I don't know if maybe I'm the only one. Derby sounds like he has a lot more faith in Ben's ability than I do. I mean, I have faith in Ben. I've seen Ben pull some magic over these past 17, 18 plus seasons. But man, every time if he throws a ball and it goes, it's going more than like 4 yards. Even times when it goes more than 4 yards, even when he throws the ball and it's like off the screen, like when you're watching it come through and it comes through and it's just like you see the ball go out. I go every time. Every single time, because it's like, where is that going? Is that going to a receiver? Is that not going to a receiver? Because he's still, I've seen him throw the best and worst passes of his career this season. It feels like, at least. So, what are you going to get out of Ben? Now, does Ben want it? Absolutely, Ben wants it. Does other people want it. The other, does Watt want it? Yeah. Does Hayward want it? Man, Hayward, times where I've given up on the Steelers, Hayward hasn't given up on the Steelers. Hayward, there are games where I felt the whole team gave up, and Hayward's out there running down. I can't remember what game it was. He ran someone down, a quarterback, like a mobile quarterback, if I remember correctly, or a running back. Ran him down 30 yards down. Hayward's no corner. Hayward's a big boy that needs to run people down. So Hayward wants it. He's one of the few people that I feel has put together a complete 16-game season. Him, Watt, and Watt was hurt. Watt played hurt a lot this season. But man, the man delivered when he is on the field. But there are, you just have to wonder what they're going to do about kind of those receivers. Those receivers that you can see you. Hello, people at home live. You wonder what they're going to do about receivers in the Washington, I thought, was going to have a big season when Juju got hurt, and Washington really has done nothing. Even when he was relied on, when you're like, okay, well, Claypool's out or Juju's out or somebody's out, you're like, Washington's going to step up. Washington didn't step up. Washington has been a ghost. Let's see. Killebrew, Norwood, and Witherspoon have stepped up. You know what? You're right about that. Norwood has been pretty good all season. Witherspoon, why did it take, if I must ask, why did it take Witherspoon? They traded a 5th-round pick for him. Why did it take almost the whole season to get him into the into playing the game? Like, why did that occur?
You remember the last time Steelers went like this on this losing season? They went to the wild card and they needed people to win, and then they went to the Super Bowl and won.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's this is Derby Gaming is watching did mention that as well, that they came in as a bottom seed and did.
Ben's gonna go back to 2005 and just murder people.
He could. Washington is crybaby that'll go for money. Now, I have no doubt he'll go for money, but I never got an instance that Washington was a crybaby. Was there anything that I know there was some talk of him wanting more targets in the offense? I can see why. He was a 2nd-round pick a few years back. He should have gotten more targets than they allotted him. Like why is it that Washington, who should be an active contributor, can't find the field, but they're force-feeding Ray McLeod. And Ray McLeod is a defender. He's a good kick returner, but he's not.
Like a Ryan Switzer.
And he made some great catches on Sunday. Don't get me wrong. He made some good catches, but this shouldn't be the guy you rely on.
I feel like James Washington, this is only my opinion. Okay. I feel like we should resign him just because he's been like our 2nd best receiver on our team, because they won't.
He hasn't been the 2nd best receiver on the team. He's barely done anything.
No, 2019, and then when he was in before, he was good.
I would sign him for dirt.
And also, I met him. So.
Well, yeah, you met him, but yeah, that's not. See, that's bias. That's what that's called, is a biased answer. Look.
I feel like he gets more stuff. He should get more stuff.
Juju's obviously he's out for the season. Not sure if he's going to come back next year. Probably won't. Unless he takes another hometown discount deal. But Claypool has all the talent in the world, and has the ability to. He has all the talent in the world and has the ability to be great. He just occasionally will make a bonehead play or two. Deontay Johnson is just a filthy route run. He will route run. He just runs loops around people.
We're gonna need a
DJ's your number 1. Claypool's your number 2, and you're gonna need a number 3 heading into next season.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah, the Washington ain't gonna be it. Washington has, if there was a point where Claypool was hurt,
I feel like,
and Juju was hurt, Washington should have stepped in, and Washington barely stepped in all season. Washington
Juju and Claypool should be signed.
Claypool has still a little bit of time left on the rookie deal. Juju, it depends on what money is being asked of him. It depends on what they're looking for money-wise. But that doesn't help you heading into this game. In this game, Washington will be off the COVID list, and is he a better option than Ray McCloud?
Well, Johnson is up in the air because he makes plays and drops it. Well, this season he's dropped like 4 passes.
Yeah.
So this season he's been a monster. Should have been a Pro Bowl.
He should have been a Pro Bowler.
He had
1,200 yards, 100 catches on the year. He probably will be a Pro Bowl alternate, only if they don't make the Super Bowl, of course. Yeah. But it's one of those things where Johnson had that bad season last year, where he had the most drops in the league, and he worked hard to get that back.
Yeah, he showed him catching tennis balls.
Yeah, but he ran into that issue, especially in these late few games where, the game's on the line, and man, he can, he just drops a ball. There's a ball that gets dropped or something's going on, and he just right in a crucial situation. He can't hold on to the ball. It happened on Sunday, and you're just like, man, like this dude has all the talent in the world to be the number 1 receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but he cannot have those crucial drops, unfortunately. So that's something on Sunday that he better, because Ben has looked his way more often than not. In almost every season, even this season, but more recently.
Ben looked his way last year, and he couldn't catch anything. And this year, he's he's searched for Ray.
That's fair. Yeah, Ray is getting a lot of attention and a lot of targets.
I feel like Ray should be resigned. Kick return guy, he's been actually pretty good. And
kick return guy, he's been good. He's been let's put it this way, he's been serviceable. It's not like he breaks them all the time. He's not Devin Hester back there, but who is? Let's put it that way. He's okay. He's okay as a kick returner, and he's okay as a depth receiver. But now, when you're in a situation when you're heading in the playoffs or heading into next season, I don't know if I want to take a new quarterback or even Ben's chances on a Ray McCloud when it comes to the game on the line. I would rather throw it to DJ. I'd rather throw it to Claypool. I'd rather throw it to Washington than Ray, to be honest, even though Ray's made some actually surprisingly good plays as of late. Was the kid alive to know who Tommy Maddox was? I think that was before his time. That was before. No, I know who Tommy Maddox is. I actually.
Didn't he get replaced with a wide receiver, Cordell Stewart?
No, that was no. That was after Cordell. After Cordell was Tommy Maddox, and Tommy Maddox was kind of the bridge quarterback to Ben. Now, I will give credit for Tommy Maddox. Is that Tommy Maddox had that one season where he made that deep playoff run where he was magic. I mean, here's the thing: as much as you knock, Rudolph, and you're saying Rudolph reminds you of Tommy Maddox. Tommy Maddox had that one season where he was dynamite. I still haven't seen that from Rudolph. I still haven't seen it. So I've yet to see Rudolph put it all together. I saw it in college. I saw it in college highlights. College highlights, him and Washington looked.
We're the best receivers.
Yeah, they were the best quarterback receiver duo in college football. I remember when they were drafted them, and I did it in my mock drafts that are on this channel that you watch, is that I had picked them. I thought they were going to be really sensational in the NFL, and never truly panned out for either of them. Rudolph has, really very tentative, very the throws there's no really power in the throws. The only thing I can think of is someone or even like Ben, like young Ben, even Ben this year a couple times where he zipped the ball kind of to someone. But the one I think of is Byron Leftwich, where he'd reach down, he'd almost throw from his ankle and just it didn't matter if it was 2 yards or 80 yards, he just rifled the ball. And every time Rudolph throws one, it's like it's like if you're throwing to your kid in the backyard. It's just like
I feel like
he's just throwing it. Yeah, it's
2 years. Rudolph is gonna have. He's gonna be like Antonio Brown. He's gonna turn crazy because of his brain.
No. I mean, look, he look, let's not get into the Garrett helmet debate, but so long I've been a fan though that we drafted Ben. So you've been around since prior to. So you saw the prior to Ben, and then Ben's entire run, which you didn't even see.
I saw the prior to Antonio Brown.
Yeah, you saw. No, did you?
Yeah, 2009.
Was he drafted in 2009?
Yeah. Or 2010 actually. So.
2010. Okay, that sounds about right.
Because I remember Julio Jones got drafted.
Yeah, he saw it. He saw it. He was 1 year old.
I saw it.
You saw the 1 year.
I saw.
You admired him.
You turned it on.
You admired him from your bouncy seat. You were bouncing there watching Antonio Brown play. But no,
I saw AB kick that dude in the face.
No, yeah, we did see that. So, the point being is that you don't know kind of what you're getting out of the Steelers heading into this playoff game. Really, like I said, are they going to play like, hey, we're happy to be here? Or are they going to play like the team that, is going to sneak up on people? I think that a lot of people are writing them off because they're like, I saw it today. I saw people begging for the Tide last night to get Herbert in the playoffs, and they're like, I can't believe Herbert's not in the playoffs, and Roethlisberger is, or the Steelers are, or whatever. And it's like, that's fine. Keep sleeping. That's when the Steelers play their best.
I got Derpy a question.
Yeah.
Ben or Rodgers all time?
Ben or Rodgers all time?
Yes. Ben.
All time in terms of
all time, like keep.
We moved on from that crybaby Youngblood. AB is a nobody now. AB
helped us very well. He took us.
AB was dynamic for the Steelers for a good 5 to 6 years. 5 to 6 years, a nice run, but really never returned to that true to form. And even there were little sprinkles of it this season. There weren't last year. He was actually terrible. People forget they remember they caught a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl, but they're like, oh, he was so good. He wasn't that good. So like I said, he had a few games this year early on for the Bucs, but here we are, another end of the season. AB gets mad or frustrated. AB quits on his team. It's happened before. It's happened a few times before.
I mean, AB did bounce back. He went on the Buccaneers, got a Super Bowl.
I'm not sure he gets another chance, though. I'm not sure he gets another chance.
Because of...
Okay. All right. So just like Le'Veon, the Steelers made him. Now, Le'Veon, the Steelers absolutely made. Dude was never the same. He sat out that 1 year, came for the Jets.
Guess what team he's on?
Made less money. Buccaneers. Never the same. I know. He's a bum there, too, though. Went to the Chiefs, did nothing. Went to the Ravens, did nothing. Now he's on the Buccaneers, will probably do nothing. So he answered your question. He said, honestly, being biased, he'd say Ben, but overall QB Rodgers. Now, that's a fair answer, I would say.
Rodgers and Favre have they're harsh to each other?
Well,
they hated each other?
They're harsh in the sense that the same reason why Rodgers and Jordan Love are. Is that Favre thought he could play forever, and they drafted Rodgers in the first round instead of getting Favre some help. Favre took exception.
Didn't Favre have Greg Jennings? But
the point being is that when you're a quarterback of a team, you always want more help. You selfishly want weapons for the offense. You don't think about the defense as much.
They probably drafted a QB because they heard of Drew Bledsoe.
Well, the point being is that Favre was upset that they drafted a QB. Rodgers came in. Apparently, Favre was a little sour with him. Watch your language. What? Did I say something bad? Was I speaking out of turn? I tend to ramble. I ramble. But the point being is that Favre came in. Rodgers was upset, and then here a decade later, Rodgers is upset when they brought Jordan Love in. So history repeats itself. But the point being is that you selfishly want a offensive weapon, and they didn't give him any.
But You remember what happened to Favre? He went to the Vikings after.
Yeah, he went to the rival. Well, he went to the Jets. The Packers would not let him go to someone in their division.
He'd go to the Steelers.
Yeah, all right. So let's address this as we're talking about it. And yes, AB is done. I don't see a chance somebody takes it. But then again, it's playoff time. He's sitting out there on waivers. He can contribute to some team. You know what I wouldn't be shocked by? Cincinnati Bengals.
I wouldn't be shocked by the Ravens.
Yeah, not well. I'm thinking of playoff teams. Playoff teams currently.
Oh, playoff teams?
Yeah, like that could help in the playoffs because he could join a team.
Why
and
would
be
the
in the
Bengals?
playoffs.
I mean, Bengals have T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, and that Auden Tate dude who's like 6'5".
Right, and let's say one of those guys gets injured, then you got AB as a depth space. And Cincinnati will give chances to anybody.
How about Steelers?
So Rodgers has better arm than Ben and hasn't really had many playmakers. And that's fair. I mean, he had Devontae Adams, but, he's dealing with people like Valdez Scandling and Alan Lazard. I mean, they're good guys, but, like, they'd be a team's fourth, a team's fifth?
Could be
are they like top 1 or 2 receivers?
No.
Adams is for sure, but he's the only one. Let's see. You would never know who will get hurt or get COVID. Exactly right. And and I do think I wouldn't. Let's put it this way: if you said tomorrow that AB got signed by one of the remaining playoff teams, I wouldn't be shocked. Now, if it was the Steelers, I would be shocked. I don't think it's not going to be the Steelers, even though the Steelers need wide receiver help. He didn't just blow up that bridge. He absolutely, he torpedoed the bridge. Like it's done. Like there's no chance that the Steelers would go down that road again with him. They even said so. I think they actually made an official statement, which they rarely do, and they're like, "Yeah, we're done."
What about the Raiders resign?
No. I as much as they torpedoed the Steelers bridge, with the Raiders. Like, there's not even a bridge that could be built at this point. I think he...
Don't they need receivers since they lost Henry Ruggs?
Yeah, they're playing with, like, Zay Jones and, Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow has 100 catches this year, I think. And Brian Edwards.
Yeah, and then that's it.
That's it. Yeah, I mean...
They don't got another receiver.
Well, they have Waller. Or did Waller get hurt?
Waller is a tight end.
Yeah, I mean, he's a tight end. But, I think he's hurt. He might be hurt.
Maybe.
But yeah, it's, with the Steelers, kind of circling back to this game, the Steelers have to play their absolute best. That's a good point. It could be the Chiefs. Of all the teams that need wide receiver help, what about the Chiefs in the playoffs? Now,
Chiefs, I mean, they got McCall Hardman, who I like. Only person I like.
All right. Tyreek Hill, but like, who's the 2? Is McCall Hardman a 2? Really? He's a slot guy.
No, Demarcus Robinson.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, Robinson. There was that season a couple seasons ago where he made a few dazzling catches, but like,
does the Chiefs really need receivers? They made it to the Super Bowl last year. They made an offer to
Juju last year.
Yeah, but like they made it to the Super Bowl.
So they need some
year.
receivers.
They made it to the Super Bowl 2 times in a row with the same receivers.
Yeah, but how did that help him last year? Mahomes was running for his life. He couldn't find a open receiver. Well, they rebuilt their whole line. Unlike what the Steelers did, they did it with money.
I never thought they'd cut Mitchell Schwartz because they're like their best lineman.
You know what, though? Everybody was talking about, I'll tell you what, they were talking about the Steelers with Mitchell Schwartz. Who signed him, Mitchell Schwartz?
No one.
Correct. Nobody.
No one signed a Castro either.
Exactly right. You know why?
Old.
Nope, they've had it. Their body is broken down and they're done.
Like Calvin Johnson?
No, Calvin Johnson just wanted to quit. He could have played about 10 more years. I feel confident Calvin Johnson could have played a decade more.
Like Luke Kuechly.
No, Luke Kuechly, yes, that's better. Because Luke Kuechly had a concussion issue. He had too many of them. And so he had to shut it down. But some players' bodies just break down. DeCastro said it himself when they cut him. That was a big shock to me when they did. I mentioned it in the live stream at the start of the season. I was like, that was a surprise to me and never expected him to be cut.
Oh, did anyone see the
But
Raiders?
he didn't get signed by anyone either. And the reason why he didn't get signed by anyone either is because he said his body had it.
Did anyone see the Raiders game? Went down to 2 seconds.
Yeah, I mentioned it at the start. I saw the Raiders game. I stayed up all night watching that Raiders game.
Did you see the Raiders coach? In the press interview, he said that we tried to agree on a tie, but they were wasting out the clock.
It wasn't that. They went out down to overtime. There was 30 seconds left. By the way, nerve-wracking. There was I can't begin to tell you. There was a fourth quarter where the Raiders had a lead, and Justin Herbert had the ball with 2 minutes left. No, it was 2 minutes left, and he might have thrown. And, correct me if I'm wrong here. He might have thrown about 80 passes. It felt like he threw 80 passes. He had so much time to it was first down, drop. Second down, batted down. Third down, drop. Fourth down, first down. First down, drop. Second round, drop. Third down, drop. Fourth round, completes it again. I'm like, unbelievable. I was like, he's getting all the chances in the world, or like a penalty would stop it. Oh my, it was the most infuriating game I may have ever watched in my entire life. But yeah, if they sign AB, it'll take pressure off Hill and Kelsey, but the chemistry and mental health, I don't know if it'll work. See, I don't know if they're going to go down that road after dealing with Bell. Now, does Andy Reid want to win another one? Will he sign his name in blood like he did, like Arians tried to do, like everybody tried to do? Maybe to win it all. I think everybody watched it. There was a Steeler fan. I know there were a lot of them. I was on the social media channels of people just like.
I wouldn't really care.
Nerve-wracking.
I honestly wish they didn't make the playoffs.
Oh,
I want a good pick for, like a good QB.
Well, here's what made me, because I'll be honest with you. If the scenario is that they were going to lose to Baltimore, or the Colts were going to just beat the Jags, and the Steelers were going to get, say, like the 17th pick in the draft or something like that, if those scenarios occurred. But the fact is the Colts lost to the Jags. The Steelers beat Baltimore. Then the Raiders beat the Chargers, and now the Steelers are in the playoffs. They now have the 20th pick in the draft. So if our season ends Sunday night to the Chiefs, based on what I saw this morning, the Steelers will have the 20th pick in the NFL draft. And, 3 picks for all this extra excitement, for again having a shot at the dance. I'll take it for 3 picks. Now, if they had dropped from, say, like 10 to 26 or something by doing this, obviously that's a bigger issue.
On this team, I want a scrambling QB. It fit our playmaking so well.
No.
Yes, it will.
30 seconds left and you call a timeout. I think it was going to be a tie. You know what? I think you're right on that. Brandon Staley, and, a lot of people question what he did there. Brandon Staley called a timeout with 30 seconds left, and it kind of looked like the Raiders were kind of like, they were out of field goal range. They were kind of, really like jogging up the line. There was no sense of urgency. They were just trying to run it out. Now, I will say if the Raiders had kneeled down, both the Raiders and Chargers have made the playoffs. The Raiders would have had to go to Kansas City. Now it's Cincinnati. So I think that factored in a little bit. But as I mentioned before, the Raiders' motto is just win. Just win, baby. Just win, and they won. They handled their business, and good for them. Just because you get to see, the old gunslinger in the saddle one more time. One more playoff time. He's there to do it. And that's, look, it's an unreal. I mean, think about the Steelers. Like, 18 seasons with Ben, never had a truly losing season with Ben. Now, never's never happened. And a lot of people say that about Tomlin. They write off Tomlin. Like, Tomlin.
I feel like Ben's going to throw 4 picks.
Yeah, and look, there's a lot of questionable things that Tomlin does, and I can certainly, point them out to you, but the man's never had a losing season. And you can credit a lot of that to Ben, and you can, blame the playoff performances and the lack of adjustments in the second half and the clock management and so many other things that Tomlin does that infuriate me. But the man, every year, puts us in a chance to win. I mean, look at the Dolphins. Look at the Vikings. Look at these teams that just let these coaches go year after year. They're turning over coaches and turning over coaches and turning over coaches. Dolphins, every 2 years, they get a new head coach. Never works out for them. They're always either 8-8 or 6-10 or thing. But Steelers, every year, here we are. We're either on the doorstep or we're in. Every year. And will that change without Ben in the saddle? Hard to say, but we'll see how that goes. Go Steelers. We play better when everybody counts us out. That's what I said earlier. That is what I said earlier, Bill. Bill and Gina forever. That is what I said earlier. That is when I love the Steelers. Their absolute best. The Steelers are their absolute best when everybody counts us out. And they will on Sunday. Watch.
Bro, Matt, why are you in here? Why are you in here?
Matt, that's my man, Matt. But no, you'll watch those pregame shows and they'll be like, who's going to win, Steelers or Chiefs? And every one of these bozos are going to pick the Chiefs. You watch. There ain't going to be one among them. There ain't not going to be one among them that is going to pick the Steelers. And I hope, just for laughs, you'll laugh until the cows come home that the Steelers pull it out and make those people, well, gee, who could have seen that coming? They play that game. Yeah, no. Pittsburgh see that coming. I don't think it'll be the same game that it was 3 weeks ago.
If we go with Rudolph next season,
let me explain.
I'll be a Chargers fan.
Jay Glazer put out a report.
Mm-hmm.
Jay Glazer put out a report that said the Steelers are going to go get a veteran quarterback next year. That Tomlin doesn't want to groom a rookie quarterback, and yet, there's all these reports that they're doing their research on the first-round quarterbacks this year. But a lot of these people are like, "Oh, it's going to be Russell Wilson, or it's going to be Aaron Rodgers, or it's going to be
Wilson?
it's going to be these guys." But you forget. Mason Rudolph's a veteran quarterback. Nobody wants that one. But he is a veteran.
What championship?
So, let's see. Brian Flores for defensive coordinator. Matt, you know what? Here's the only problem. I would love Flores for defensive coordinator. Here's the problem. From what I've heard and what I've read, and, I can check this report again,
Flores.
Is that
Didn't Flores trade every person to the Texans and they
no,
went on strike?
That's a GM. That's a GM, and he got canned. Flores, the defensive coordinator for Keith Butler, has never called a defensive play for the Steelers his entire time there.
We're not going
to. He's never called a defensive play.
We're not getting Wilson.
What type of coordinator are you getting that is giving up all their power to call defensive plays, because Tomlin calls those defensive plays? That's why Keith Butler is the perfect fall guy. And are they going to get rid of Keith Butler when in the last 5 seasons they've led the league in sacks? And yes, there are times when they look defensively inept and terrible, but yet they led the league in sacks the last 5 years. And you can't, that's a nice little feather in the resume.
I don't think we're getting Wilson this year.
See who we got tonight in the championship. What championship? Let's see. X Factor for next week's game is Pat. We need a new option in the passing game to free up Johnson. Open things for knowledge. You see Freiermuth. So Freiermuth, they could get the ball a lot more. And why do the Steelers never throw to the middle of the field? Every team knows that the Steelers work the corners. They work the sidelines. If you watch Ben's his completions, they're here all season. You can see the highlight, but never here. Never in the middle of the field. He never throws. Why does he never throw in the middle of the field? Why? So Put Pat in the middle of the field. Chiefs are working the sidelines. Ding, ding, ding. Just knock it down.
We're not getting Wilson.
Oh, that's tonight. I didn't even realize.
What?
All right. Well, thoughts on Manchester United? Man U. Are they playing tonight? I wasn't sure about Man U. Are they actually in the championship as well? I'm apparently out of the football the European League loop. Are they in the European League? No, I'm starting to question everything.
Bama and Georgia. I take Bama because I heard Georgia is like a cocky team.
Yeah. So honestly, I want Wilson because Rodgers no chance. Now,
but we're not getting Wilson.
Wilson's going to take more.
He wants a line.
The Seahawks are going to want multiple first-round draft picks for Wilson. Now, I heard a report, and, whether you like Rodgers or, I think Rodgers is a little cocky. He's very arrogant, but a credible quarterback. If the report is true and Green Bay is giving him up for a 1 and a 3, if you're the Steelers, you at least have to consider it. You have to consider that. I don't know if they will ultimately, but you have to consider it. I want us to also beat New England in the playoffs and would like to beat Brady. We need to be. Listen, I would love. There is nothing. The most enjoyment I ever get out of a football game is seeing Brady walk off a loser. It literally it's like a drug. I get so excited. It's like I just get this nice, like, there's something euphoric about seeing him lose that I enjoy so much.
Then watch the regular season.
Oh my God! Every time I watch him throwing his stupid Microsoft Surface tab, the feeling I get seeing him get beat. And by the way, I'd love to beat New England. I hate Belichick. I never been a fan of Belichick. Hate him. Hate his press conferences. Maybe the most boring man on earth. A true villain. A true villain of football, which, some people might like. I usually like a good villain, in things like movies and wrestling and stuff like that. But not here. He's the worst villain. He's just a true evil person that I want nothing but the worst for. Let's see. Yeah, Butler's totally going to stay. Oh, I forgot Bama and Georgia are playing tonight. Alabama's going to win. Let's not kid ourselves. Let's not kid ourselves. You talk about an evil empire. Nothing is more evil than the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, it's no knock on them. I guess not evil. Villainous, I guess you could say. Let's use the term villainous because the Crimson Tide cannot be stopped. They, other than that one, was that Clemson that beat them a couple years back? Was it Clemson? I think Clemson. But yeah, Alabama, they have the recruiting. And they just have the best players, and when you have the best players, unfortunately, you're just gonna win, and it's great. Anybody who plays Alabama is usually an underdog, so you always want an underdog to succeed. But let's not kid ourselves. In college football, it's going to be Alabama.
Is Derrick Henry a Hall of Famer?
Is Derrick Henry a Hall of Famer? Uh-huh. Not currently. I mean, he could be.
But he's getting old. He's 27.
Yeah, it depends. Peterson's still playing for Seattle. He's 36 or 37, so certain.
But he's transferring to every single.
Yeah, well, he's going to get his stats. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. Adrian Peterson's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, that's because he was good since he was like 23.
Yeah, let's see. Green allowed too much pressure up the middle. I got the SEC committee win. Yeah, Green, look, Ben kind of, and I don't know if Ben does this if he's coming back next year. I do think the retirement sticks for Ben. I'm not sure not saying he's not going to get the itch to play. I just don't think, I think he will ultimately retire. But Ben kind of came out and said that Kendrick Green should have been guard all season. And I think it was Clem, the offensive line coach, which another Tomlin questionable decision to bring in a guy that they ultimately let go to Oregon, where, as soon as the replacement guy came in, the protege, the understudy came in, the first thing he did was J.C. Hassenauer was in there at center. And I think maybe the writing's on the wall that you put Kendrick Green as a guard on the opposite side of Dotson. And the hope being is that you then have draft a center of the future, or pay a nice premium with your free agent money to get a center. So, I think that's something that they're probably going to look into next year. I think there will be a new center next year, and I would not be shocked if Green is the right guard, because Trey Turner was on a 1-year deal, and I like Trey Turner. Trey Turner was okay. He made some questionable plays here and there, questionable blocks, but I'm not saying they won't bring back Trey Turner, but I think it's an open competition for right guard next year, even if they bring back Trey Turner, and I think Green is the other candidate. I think it's probably more likely we get someone like Carr or Cousins, or roll the dice on Trubinsky. I would love to get Rodgers or Wilson, but don't want to get my hopes up. Yeah, look, it comes down to money and draft capital. The Steelers have $44 million. That's with the Watt deal. They had a lot more without the Watt deal. But look, Watt's worth every penny. Let's not kid ourselves. But if they're bringing in a top flight QB, that's going to cost a lot of money. You bring in a Rodgers, that's going to cost a good penny. You bring in a Wilson, that's going to cost a good penny. Carr, Cousins might cost a good penny. You see what Minnesota's paying him? Oh my God! Now Carr could be potentially a bargain. Of all those options, he could be a bargain. But yeah, listen, they would have not won like they had if they hadn't cheated. And you're right about that. And here's the worst part about the New England Patriots and during the Brady era. And now I'll whip a little history on you. Richard Nixon, for Watergate, the whole hook is he was trying to find out information. Trying to find out information on the Democrats. Meanwhile, in the next election, he carried 49 of the 50 states. He almost beat the candidate in his own home state. The point being is, he didn't have to cheat to win. The Patriots didn't have to cheat to win, but they cheated, and it tarnished them forever. And they can whatever they want, and they can show Robert Kraft in the booth every time they make make a first down. It's like, oh, cut to Robert Kraft. He's just as guilty as the rest of them. So just as guilty as the rest of them. So, it's one of those things where it's like you don't have to cheat to win. Brady was good enough, and Belichick were good enough that they did not have to cheat to win, but they cheated anyway. And that's what makes them villains. And that's why I'll hate them forever. Forever. You say the SEC committee wins tonight because of money. Money talks, don't it? Money talks. Money talks. And we know the rest. But yeah, it's you don't have to. It would be great. It would be great, first of all, to see a Steelers playoff win in 2022, when I know I personally kind of wrote this team off after a team that's going to tie the Detroit Lions is going to come in and knock off the Chiefs. What a story that would be. Ben's last ride, what a story that would be. I feel like it's not out of the realm of possibility that it can be done. It can be done. The question is it something that they can put together, because they have to put it together, their best game. And I haven't mentioned this yet in this one, but oh my God, they cannot come out of the gates as slow as they've come out of the gates for a lot of the games this season. The start of Steelers games are the most infuriating watch this season that I can remember, because they do not come out of the gates firing. I remember a Steelers team, it wasn't that long ago, that came out of the gates shot out of a cannon. And sadly, those teams that I remember were the ones that would come out shot out of a cannon and then start giving up the game late. Now it's the opposite. Now they're coming out of the real slow and lethargic, and it's first down, handoff, 2 yards. Screen pass, 2 yards. 2nd and 9, 2nd and 8, handoff to Najee, 1 yard. And that's because of the line. Najee's been great. The fact that he was top 5 in the league with this O-line, did not fumble with this O-line, that guy's, I can't say enough about Najee. But the play calling is, so first down, like I said, 2-yard play, 3-yard play. Second down, 1-yard run. So then it's third and long, usually. Third and long, third and 9, third and 10, something like that. And you know what they do? You know what they always do? It's what they've done 100 million times this season. It's third and 10 or third and 9. What's going to happen? You know what's going to happen because I know what's going to happen. They're going to throw a 3-yard pass. They need 10. They're going to throw 3 yards. And the hope being is that they're going to either have set up a group of blockers that will not block and will not get him a first down, or the hopes is that Najee or Deontay Johnson or somebody's going to make a play. It may have worked maybe twice this entire season. They've done it about 100 times. It may have worked twice. So all I ask is that, and look, if it's the Ben last hurrah, I'll do that. Yeah. I'll subscribe to your channel, Bill. I will absolutely subscribe. Are you a loyal subscriber of Tom Was Here? I hope you are. But I will happily subscribe to your channel just the same. But if this has been the last hurrah, go for broke. Go for broke. Don't give me this third down and 10. Thank you. I appreciate it. I greatly appreciate you watching my videos. That's why I do them. But I need an outlet. Look, I work from home. I don't get to talk Steelers as much as I used to with people at work. I need that outlet, and I haven't talked in a while. I haven't done any videos this year, and I was like, you know what? It's time to talk a little Steelers. Don't give me this going to Sunday night. If they go into Sunday night and it's a 3rd and 10 and they throw it for another 1.5 to 2 yards, I'm going to get really upset. Just let them rip it. Let them rip it. Let them grip it and rip it. So yeah, let's come out aggressive. I'd like to see this team come out and slay. Come out and just like ram it down the Chiefs' throat. Just ram it down their throat for fun. Just do it. Don't play this little, we're gonna do a little dink dunk or a little handoff here and there. Just kill it. I want to see it. Been watching your videos for a while, from exercise to unboxing and parks. Well, those exercise videos are coming. Look at this. Look at this. I got to get back on the. I had a little bit too much fun over the last few months, and I can see it in my fat face. I gotta start getting back on the old wagon here. I can't be eating all the terrible food that I eat because that's my vice. And so don't be shocked if you see an exercise video coming in very, very soon here. But that's good. Yeah, love the Steelers, man. You born and raised into this stuff, man. For better or for worse, for richer or poor, in sickness and in health, and not even death will part my love for the Steelers, man, because it's maybe, and I don't know, I can't speak because I've never been a fan of another team enough to see how frustrating it is watching those teams play. But man, with the Steelers, living and dying by everything they do, and man, it can be frustrating this whole season for the most part. These slow starts and these slow runs and just putting years on me. Like I could say this gray hair is because of the kids, and this gray hair is because of the wife, and this gray hair up top is because of the Steelers. That is facts. That's 100% facts. Need to put the fear in the league. Not even a sense of fear, is that the league kind of looks at us in this season. They look at us like they shouldn't be here. And that's the best thing that could ever happen for the Steelers, is being told they shouldn't be here. That's when they're level best. We're going to get the best out of them because they shouldn't be here. And they've been written off by everybody right now. At least we aren't Bills fans. You know what? The Bills run in the 90s. Imagine that as a Steeler fan. You can gripe about Tomlin's disappointments in the playoffs, and you're certainly justified in that. But imagine, and one thing I will say about Tomlin, we're romanticizing Cowher. Like, Cowher was so much better, and Cowher, I love Cowher. Cowher was great, but it's not like, even though we went deeper into the playoffs, it's not like he wasn't left on the doorstep a few times, losing AFC championship games, losing playoffs that he should have won. You can knock Tomlin just because we haven't hit the playoffs in a while, and when we did, we underachieved. But man, it's not like Cowher didn't do that. Funny thing about, and I'm no Tomlin apologist, but they're like, oh, he won with Cowher's players. Well, it took Cowher about 14 years to win with Cowher's players. It took Tomlin 2. I mean, that's pretty good. I know that's unfair, but Tomlin. Tomlin is going to be wearing a gold jacket someday. I hate to mention that to you, for those that really hate him, but Tomlin got the resume for a gold jacket. Yeah, man. Oh, Matt, I'm going to be doing one. I was going to do one actually. I thought this was going to be the end of the Steelers season, and I was going to come on and do one. So if sadly, whenever the Steelers season does end, whether it ends with me with the Super Bowl shirt on, because I will run to Dick's or whoever has the place open, like I did in 40 and like I did with 43. I actually went out into the world after the game, went to, I think, JCPenney for 40. JCPenney in Monroeville Mall was open right after the game for a Super Bowl t-shirt and hat. And I bought one and wore it to work the next day. And the Super Bowl 43, I went to Dick's in the waterfront and got a Super Bowl hat and t-shirt so I could wear it the next day to work. I will happily live stream that action if they happen to pull this off, because I will go anywhere to get one of those shirts for the next day. But yeah, my dad was born in Pittsburgh and he was raised in West Virginia. I live in Oklahoma, but try to go to a game once a year. Very cool. Very, very cool. I try to get to games myself because the last few years I've been doing videos on them, but did not get to a game this year. Sadly, really wanted to, but it just did not happen. We are spoiled. Oh, we're absolutely spoiled. We are spoiled rotten. So look at people like the Dolphins. The Dolphins fired Flores today. He ripped off 8 straight wins for them. Now, did they start off terrible? Sure, but you're gonna get rid of a coach that won 8 games in a row. But the Dolphins have been mediocre forever. Jacksonville been, had a few seasons where they were all right, playoff team, never made the Super Bowl. The Jets, the lowly Jets, the Giants. You can name so many teams, and everybody's like, fire Tomlin, this is terrible. It's like, but once again, here we are yet again. Of all the mistakes that were made this season, the Steelers are in the playoffs yet again. How do they do it? How did they do it? And yet they've done it yet again. It's unreal. Wow, you were at Super Bowl 40. I've never been to a Super Bowl. I would love to go to a Super Bowl. 10 rows up from the field, 20-yard line. Man, what a game to be at. Super Bowl 43. You saw live what I feel, and it doesn't get the credit that it deserves. One of the best passes in Super Bowl history was not thrown by Ben Roethlisberger, was not thrown by a quarterback, was thrown by Antoine Randall. One of the prettiest passes I have ever seen ever to Hines Ward in Super Bowl 40. Unreal pass. Ridiculous pass that he threw on the button. Like, where'd you want it, Hines? Between the 8 or the 6? I mean, he put it right on the numbers. That's a great game to be at. I mean, man, I can only imagine. Like, I would go to a Super Bowl of two teams I hated their guts just to say you're at a Super Bowl. But to go to a Super Bowl where your team's in it and your team wins it, and handily, I might add. I mean, it wasn't, maybe not super handily, but I mean, it wasn't like a blowout. It wasn't like that one where the Seahawks kind of blew out the Broncos a few years back. But still, pretty handily most of the game. I mean, fun little moments there. It certainly wasn't 43 where you were, nail biting. And plus, it was Detroit is not a major drive from Pittsburgh. It's about 4 hours. So it was very, there was a lot of home cooking in Ford Field from what I remember that night. And yeah, I can imagine the scene. Because usually, with the Super Bowl, was a lot of corporate money there, a lot of big money. But this was a usually you're there just to see a Super Bowl, not necessarily to see your team. But man, that's a great game to be at. And Jeff, what's the time frame is from Oklahoma to Michigan? It was maybe like 10 hours or something like that. But yeah, that's a good game. That's a good game to be at, man. I would only hope that if I ever get to make it to a Super Bowl, very unlikely that I will, but if I ever do, to see my team go to the Super Bowl and win it all, win the coveted, whether it's the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, 10th, look, it's always nice to see your team. I remember the excitement of seeing the Steelers, and I wasn't there, I wasn't at the game. I was sitting at home, nervous and excited and terrified, and as the wide range of emotions that you go through with any Steelers game or playoff game or Super Bowl. Let's see, I drove from Oklahoma. So you drove from Oklahoma to Pittsburgh and then to Detroit. That's a nice little trip there. That's awesome, though. That is amazing. That's amazing. That's unreal. But that's awesome, man. That is I only hope someday, if I have my wish, man, I would love to make it to just a Super Bowl, much less a Steelers Super Bowl, and much less a Steelers Super Bowl victory. All three, you can't put a price tag on it, although, yeah, man, that's awesome. That is awesome. But yeah, I just wanted to hop on. I was gonna make it a eulogy for the Steelers, and yet here we are again, man. Here we are again, Steelers playoff football. So you're telling me there's a chance? Well, in your short life, you saw the Steelers lose every playoff game. Yes, sadly, never got to see $3,500. $3,500. That's not bad. That's not. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's a lot, but it's still not. That's almost by comparison from what I've heard about Super Bowls. That's fairly reasonable. I've heard, especially more recent ones, that they were as high as like 7,000, 8,000, 10,000 a ticket, something insane like that. But yeah, 3,500. I mean, 3,500 for 10 rows up. That sounds good to me. I mean, that's lower bowl. I've heard 3,500 for like the nosebleed. Like I want to say, I think I looked it up last year just for fun. Like I pulled it up on StubHub, and it was something like there was a seat at like the top of the stadium, and it was like $5,000 or something, and $5,000 a piece for like 2 seats. And I was like, no, that's too much. But yeah, the experience. Oh my God, the experience. Just to say you were there, say you were there, and that you saw it, you witnessed it, you saw them hoist the trophy, and that was the one. I mean, that was the first one of my life that I saw as an alive human. I was born in 1983. I never saw the glories of the 70s, so that was worth every bit of everything to me. and to get that icing on the cake of 43 right after, and then they circle around to 45, and they came within surprisingly close to that game. I actually just rewatched that reluctantly recently, or at least the highlights of it, and I didn't remember how close that game actually was until the end. But a couple key mistakes in 45, or they could have had another one. I wouldn't pay to watch and listen to. That's fair. I understand that. For me, it's more in terms of like I wouldn't pay to see another team in the Super Bowl. But if I won like a giveaway, like say you won like a contest or something, and you happen to like, I don't know where it's played this year. I think it's SoFi Stadium in LA. But yeah, if you won like tickets to that, yeah, sure. I mean, great. But yeah, I don't know if I'd pay that level of coin unless it was the Steelers, or unless I get some bargain, or unless I happen to run into someone who was extremely rich and they're like, come with me to the Super Bowl. And I'm like, yes, that would be, which are all unrealistic scenarios, but scenarios that I would strongly consider. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this weekend, and I think I may be back. I will be back with another live stream when it's the end of the Steelers season, to kind of assess not just the season in review, but where we go from here, because there's a lot to. This is going to be a key offseason for the Steelers. There's a lot to address heading into next season. Obviously, if this is Ben's last hurrah, and I really feel confident that it is, the QB situation, the who you're cutting, who you're trading, who you're drafting, all these things we're going to get into. Bill, nice talking with you. Thank everybody who jumped in for the live stream. But yeah, there's a lot to cover, and I think I will be back with another one whenever the end of the Steelers season may be, because the last few years that's what I did, as I addressed the end of the season. But tonight was the night, after all the craziness that went on, to talk about the Steelers yet again, being in the playoffs, an unreal amount that they are back at it again, that they have a chance, which is just unreal. But guys, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Thank everybody for all the comments and the questions that jumped in. I greatly appreciate it. And we're gonna be doing some more Steelers stuff heading into the new year. A lot of different stuff. I have a couple unboxings to get to, as mentioned before. There most likely will be some weight loss video coming sooner rather than later, because I got to get back on the horse. And then I'm gonna try to get to some Tomwashere stuff. This I took a little break at the start of the season, but this train is gonna be churning. I doing videos, whether it's live stream, whether it's talking Steelers, whether it's going places, whether it's doing weight loss stuff or unboxings, just things I enjoy. And I do appreciate everybody that reaches out with comments, reaches out on live streams, and just comes and just says like, hey, I watch your videos, like your videos. Likes, subscribes, comments, everything you guys do, I greatly appreciate it. And I'll keep doing it until it's not fun no more. And it's still fun. But guys, thank you so much for watching. And until the next video, I will see you soon. But until then, bye everyone.